Have you ever witnessed an act of protection so unexpected that it completely changed your perception of a group? Imagine walking toward a mosque on Eid morning, the air thick with the scent of freshly baked sweets, the streets bustling with worshippers in their finest attire, and then, standing at the entrance, are men clad in leather jackets, their arms crossed, their motorcycles lined up like sentinels. Would you feel safe, or would you hesitate? Eid al-Fitr, a day of celebration, unity, and renewal, marks the end of Ramadan. For millions around the world, it is a moment of spiritual triumph, a communal gathering of gratitude and joy. But in one American city, the celebration is shadowed by a lingering concern: safety. Past incidents, some minor disruptions, others more severe, have left the local mosque committee wary. Despite police presence, there is an underlying fear that something might go wrong. This year, however, an unexpected ally emerges. A motorcycle gang, known throughout the city for their street presence, their tattoos, their roaring bikes, volunteers to ensure the safety of the event. Their leader, a man named Jake, steps forward with an offer that surprises everyone. The night before Eid, the mosque committee gathers for a final security briefing. Imam Youssef, a man whose calm demeanor often masks the weight of responsibility on his shoulders, listens intently as the team discusses logistics. "We've done everything we can on our end," one volunteer says, "but the numbers keep growing every year. We need more eyes." Just then, a knock at the door startles the room. A man steps in, his leather jacket bearing an insignia that many recognize. He is Jake, the leader of a well-known motorcycle club, and he isn't here to cause trouble. "We've been watching," he says, his voice steady but cautious. "Every year you guys do this big gathering and we see the good it brings. We want to help keep it that way." Silence falls over the room. The reputation of Jake's group precedes them. Some see them as protectors of their neighborhoods, others as troublemakers. But tonight, none of that matters. Tonight, an offer has been made, and the only question is whether to accept it. After a tense pause, Imam Youssef speaks. "If your intention is sincere, we welcome your support." And with that, the unlikely partnership begins. The morning of Eid arrives, and the mosque is alive with activity. Rows of worshippers unfurl their prayer mats. Children chase one another in excitement, and families greet each other warmly. But at every key point, standing tall and vigilant, are Jake and his men. They direct traffic, they watch for disturbances, and most importantly, they make their presence known. At first, some worshippers are uneasy. The sight of these men, bearded, tattooed, often associated with a different way of life, feels out of place. But as the morning progresses, doubt gives way to appreciation. A mother struggling to carry her child is helped by one of the bikers. An elderly man, lost in the crowd, is guided safely back to his family. These small acts, unnoticed by many, begin to shift perceptions. As the sun rises higher, the crowd grows. The mosque's parking lot, once orderly, now swells with cars arriving from every direction. The bikers spring into action, guiding vehicles, calming impatient drivers, and ensuring that no one is blocked in. Their efficiency is striking. They work with precision, their movements practiced, their voices calm but firm. Then a commotion. A car moving too fast nearly clips a group of children playing near the entrance. Before panic can spread, two bikers step in, blocking the vehicle's path with their bikes. The driver, startled, slows down. One of the bikers, a towering man named Rico, leans in and speaks calmly but firmly. "Gotta slow it down, man. Kids everywhere." The driver nods, embarrassed, and drives away at a safer pace. Meanwhile, inside the mosque, the prayer has begun. The recitation echoes through the vast hall, a sound of peace and devotion. Outside, Jake and his men stand watch. One of the bikers, a man named Dom, leans against his bike, watching the horizon. "Never thought I'd be standing outside a mosque on Eid morning," he mutters. "Feels different." Jake nods. "Yeah, but in a good way." As the final prayer is completed, the doors of the mosque open, and worshippers pour out, greeting one another, exchanging gifts, and embracing family members. A young boy runs up to one of the bikers, his eyes wide with admiration. "Mister, can I sit on your bike?" The biker, surprised, laughs and lifts the boy onto the seat. The child's mother watches, a smile forming on her lips. These men, once feared, have now become part of the celebration. As the prayers conclude, Imam Youssef takes the microphone. "Today we have seen unity in its truest form. To our brothers who stood watch and kept us safe, we thank you. Jake, standing at the back of the crowd, nods. For him and his men, this was never about recognition. It was about proving that unity is not dictated by appearance or background. It is forged in action. Yet not everyone was pleased. Some within the Muslim community questioned the decision to allow a group with a history of street involvement to play such a vital role. Others wondered if this was merely a symbolic act, a fleeting moment unlikely to create lasting change. And what about Jake's own community? Would they see this as a betrayal of their own identity? Jake himself was no stranger to these questions. As he rode away that day, he knew that his decision would be scrutinized. His past had shaped him, and now his present actions were being weighed against it. But for the first time in a long while, he felt something different, something lighter. He had not only protected a place of worship, but had, in his own way, found a sense of belonging. But belonging is complicated. As the days passed, Jake found himself reflecting on what had truly changed. Was it the community's perception of him, or his perception of himself? Could this one act of goodwill override years of built-up suspicion and mistrust? Or would he always be seen as an outsider in both worlds? These thoughts lingered as he parked his bike outside the club's headquarters. His brothers would have questions, the same way the mosque had, and Jake, for the first time in a long time, wasn't sure how to answer them. The rise in Islamophobia had cast a pall over their celebrations. News reports of mosques being vandalized, of Muslims being harassed, weighed heavily on their minds. The local police had promised increased security, but the community remained apprehensive. The elders of the mosque had held meetings, debating the best course of action. Some argued for increased security measures. Others felt that it would only escalate the situation, turning their place of worship into a fortress. The debate reflected the community's struggle to reconcile their faith with the reality of the world outside. As the faithful gathered for the Eid prayer, a low rumble echoed in the distance. It grew louder, closer, until a procession of motorcycles roared into view. They were a motley crew, clad in leather vests adorned with patches and insignia. These were the Steel Hawks, a notorious biker gang with a reputation for their rough ways and rebellious spirit. The sight sent a collective gasp through the crowd. Fear tightened its grip. Whispers rippled through the mosque, a mixture of apprehension and confusion. What were the Steel Hawks doing here? Were they here to cause trouble? The tension was palpable, a knot in the pit of everyone's stomach. Section 5. Walls of Mistrust. The mosque committee, a group of elderly men with worried faces, watched the bikers approach. They had heard rumors, stories whispered in hushed tones. The Steel Hawks were not known for their piety or their respect for authority. What did they want? The leader of the Steel Hawks, a mountain of a man with a shaved head and a goatee, dismounted his bike. He walked towards the mosque committee, his boots heavy on the pavement. He extended a hand, his face surprisingly gentle. "We're here to help," he said, his voice deep and gravelly. "We heard about what's been going on. We won't let anyone hurt you." Section 6. Guardians in Leather and Chrome. The day unfolded with an unexpected peace. The Steel Hawks, their rough exteriors belying a quiet respect, patrolled the perimeter of the mosque. They directed traffic, keeping a watchful eye on the comings and goings. Their presence, initially a source of anxiety, became a reassuring constant. The community, initially wary, began to warm up to their unlikely protectors. The bikers, despite their intimidating appearance, were respectful and courteous. They interacted with the children, their gruff exteriors softening as they shared smiles and high fives. The sight of these tattooed giants, symbols of rebellion, standing guard over a place of worship was a powerful image, a testament to the unexpected ways in which humanity can manifest. Section 7. Bridges of Dates and Smiles. Small acts of kindness chipped away at the wall of mistrust. One of the bikers, a giant with a handlebar moustache, was seen helping an elderly woman with her groceries. Another, his arms covered in tattoos, was spotted playing tag with a group of giggling children. The bikers shared in the Eid feast, accepting dates and sweets with shy smiles. They listened patiently as the imam explained the significance of the day. The language of shared humanity transcended cultural barriers, forging an unexpected bond between two seemingly disparate groups. Section 8. A near miss and a firm hand. The true test of their commitment came when a car driven recklessly sped towards the mosque. The driver seemed oblivious to the potential catastrophe he was causing, weaving through the crowded streets with little regard for the safety of others. The Steelhawks, their reflexes honed from years on the road, reacted instantly. They had always prided themselves on their quick thinking and ability to handle high-pressure situations, and this was no different. The leader, with surprising agility, swerved his bike in front of the car, forcing it to a screeching halt. His maneuver was precise, leaving no room for error, and it brought the car to an abrupt stop just in time. His voice, usually calm and measured, boomed with authority as he reprimanded the driver. The driver, initially defiant, quickly realized the gravity of the situation and the potential disaster he had narrowly avoided. The incident, though brief and bloodless, served as a stark reminder of the very real dangers the community faced. It was a wake-up call for everyone present, highlighting the importance of vigilance and quick action. It also underscored the sincerity of the Steelhawks' intentions. Their actions were not just about bravado or showing off their skills. They were deeply committed to the safety and well-being of the community. They were not just there for show. They were willing to put themselves in harm's way to protect the mosque and its worshippers. Their presence was a testament to their dedication, and the community began to see them not just as bikers, but as guardians and protectors. Section 9. Reflections in a Chrome Skull. Later that evening, as the last of the worshippers dispersed, the leader of the Steelhawks stood alone, gazing at the mosque. The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the minarets, and the air was filled with a serene silence. It was a moment of introspection, a rare pause in his otherwise tumultuous life. His reflection stared back at him from the chrome skull adorning his leather vest. The polished surface of the skull seemed to capture not just his image, but the essence of his journey, the battles fought, and the roads traveled. He had spent his life living on the fringes of society, feared and misunderstood. The roar of his bike was his voice, the open road his sanctuary. Yet in this moment of solitude, he felt a connection to something greater, something beyond the leather and chrome. But today, he had felt a sense of purpose, of belonging, that transcended the roar of engines and the brotherhood of the open road. It was a feeling that filled the void within him, a sense of being part of a larger tapestry of life. He had seen fear in the eyes of the worshippers, fear that mirrored his own experiences. It was a fear born of the unknown, of the unfamiliar. Yet, in their eyes, he also saw a reflection of his own vulnerability, his own quest for acceptance. But he had also seen their gratitude, their slow acceptance of him and his brethren. It was a small but significant step towards bridging the gap between their worlds. The handshake, the nod of acknowledgement, these were gestures that spoke volumes. The experience had been transformative, challenging his own preconceived notions of identity and community. It made him question the labels and boundaries that society imposed, and the ones he had imposed on himself. He realized that the lines that divided us were often arbitrary, drawn in the sand and easily erased by compassion and understanding. In that moment, he understood that true strength lay not in isolation, but in unity, in the ability to see beyond the surface and connect with the humanity in each other. Section 10. Shifting Sands of Belonging. The events of that Eid resonated far beyond the mosque walls. News spread like wildfire, images of bikers guarding the mosque appearing on news channels and social media. It sparked a dialogue, forcing people to confront their biases and question their understanding of community. The story of the Steelhawks and the mosque became a symbol of hope, a testament to the power of unity in a world increasingly fractured by division and distrust. And with that said, thanks for watching.